Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now October 6th of 2025, and ever since the assassination of Chalrie Kirk on September 10th, we have seen many celebrities, many personalities, and those in the media unfortunately coming forward to actually take advantage of the whole situation, to politicize Chalrie Kirk, to either mock him, attack him, or even lie about him. I mean, we all saw what happened with Stephen King, and how he's also now lashing out based on how people canceled him over his lies, and how he's really just not allowing that to happen. He's just really fed up with the fact that people are really just beginning to actually show that they are not standing for any of these so-called quote-unquote celebrities, personalities, and those in the media that believe that they are higher than the regular hardworking American citizens. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You could also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, Katy Perry specifically, we all know that she has said some crazy wacky things before in the past and continues to do so with her failing Lifetimes tour in specific US markets that's just not selling proper ticket sales. We all know this, and basically her way of coping with that is by, well, not a big shocker, ranting toward the audience, ranting toward the general public. And as we discussed a couple of days ago, she already took advantage and politicized the whole Chalrie Kirk situation and is doing it yet again in a way to cope with the fact that nobody is literally buying into any of her stuff when it comes to her talking points, etc. Let's get into this. Now, one thing about Katy Perry is that we all know that the whole controversy back in April of this year with her flight into Blue Origin, and where she actually went up, came back down, she got a lot of heat for the way that she acted, for the way that she actually acted on camera. We all know that it was pretty much overly dramatic, more than it really needed to be. However, on top of everything here, with the assassination of Chalrie Kirk creating tons of those in both the film industry and the music industry to come forward and politicize the entire situation that happened on September 10th, one major development going on now involves more to do with Katy Perry and how she is already taking advantage of the Chalrie Kirk assassination once again to actually politicize it. Now, Katy delivered the following. As a woman, I would definitely say I'm a proud feminist, but to see so many of Trump's supporters politicizing the death of this young man, Chalrie Kirk, is a true tragedy. I think the moment you begin to politicize a young man's death, that's when your country has truly hit rock bottom, and why those following Trump really need to understand the kind of man he really is. I think America deserves better, our people deserve better, and there are just far too many out there falling for the lies from this administration. There is a reason why so many countries are ahead of us with the health of their food and their education system. Just look at our education system. Do any of Trump's supporters even know what he is saying to back up his claims? Our industry is also under attack, and I have never seen it this bad since what happened on September 10th to Chalrie Kirk, where this presidency now believes it gives them the go-ahead to say it's all the left's fault and points the finger at the arts. Now, if you are a singer, performer, or actor, writer, whatever, your freedom of speech is dead. It's just gone, and there is no going back unless we vote this man out of office. We can't afford to allow the MAGA legacy to ruin our country and to run our country for the next decade. It would be just as tragic. What happened to this young man, it has nothing to do with the left. It never had anything to do with liberals or anything like that. So to see Trump and those gathered around him going on mainstream media to blame the left about this and that, it's not only hurting our country, it's also making people believe it's okay to just point the finger and say it's their fault and everyone will believe it. Fortunately, our industry has a lot of smart people, am I right? I am more than grateful for my fans. There are so many out there that think the same way I do, that are just afraid to come out in fear of being ridiculed and made an example of by this administration. Now, guys, let me just say one thing about Katy Perry. Now, the fact that she went on that constant trope there about the education system and how basically she's saying that Trump and his administration is politicizing the Chalrie Kirk situation. And is that not politicizing in and of itself? The fact that we have Katy Perry going on about the Trump administration and his supporters supposedly, quote-unquote, politicizing Chalrie Kirk's death is ridiculous and utterly insane. Now, she, if anything, is the one politicizing it by talking about education, talking about how she's a feminist, also talking about how we should actually deal with the whole country right now, and how she wants to vote him out of office. And look, we know that Trump is not coming back after 2029. We all know this. She should know that very much, but I think what she's referring to is that she wants to get his policies voted out in 2026 during the midterms, alright? That's basically, I think, what she's talking about by voting him out of office, essentially. One thing about all of this, though, is that whatever happened to common sense, she says, we now live in a world where if you're somebody like me and go up to space, you get mocked when you come back down. This is all Trump's doing, and his supporters who encourage him, and they aren't helping at all either. We really need to progress as a society. Now guys, again, there she goes talking about her time up in space, alright, which wasn't really true space, by the way, at all. She just went really high up and came back down to Earth, basically, is what happened. Now, we all know one thing about all of this, is that everything related to Katy Perry, I think this all stems from the fact that she's dealing with a lot of those, just abandoning her Lifetime's tour. Even her own fans are giving her up at this point based on how she acted with the whole Blue Origin spaceflight, acted so over-dramatic with that, and also got very political on and off. People are just fed up and tired about this, exhausted over this, about how a lot of these celebrities, a lot of these singers, actors, and writers, whatever have you, really decide to make their careers into a political career, basically, where they feel that they actually should become a political commentator, when all they really should be doing is either singing, dancing, or acting, or writing, whatever it may be, right? She concludes, and they aren't helping at all either. We really need to progress everything. We need to evolve and not devolve. We need to change. And in order to gain back our freedom of speech, we need to vote the right way next year. And I am just hoping there are many out there that know better and have an idea on what they have to do to make things right in our society. Because enough is enough. Now, look, some people are going to argue that Katy Perry is obviously doing this because she has a vendetta against Trump or has a lot of personal issues with Trump. I think it truly actually stems from the fact, as I pointed out earlier, from the fact that even her own fans are just flat out walking away from her Lifetime's tour. I think a lot of it's coming from that as well. And she's very bitter. Now, one thing about Katy Perry, Stephen King, Robert De Niro, all these different celebrities, right? The thing that I find the most offensive when they ever even mention or drag Chalrie Kirk's name into their argument and attach that to their overall political argument is the fact that they never actually lend out support to his friends, his family, even to himself after his passing. They never lend out any kind of respect to the man, to Chalrie Kirk. And it's always about Trump this and Trump that. And that's the biggest problem that I have always had with a lot of these celebrities, personalities, and those in the media, is that they never once, not even in the very early stages, like on September 12th or just a couple of days after what happened, not once did they ever come out and say, this is a terrible thing that happened, we should, really address the whole situation, and to really just lend out our support to Erika Kirk, Charlie's family and friends. Nothing like that was ever said from a lot of these specific celebrities. It's all about just coming out and politicizing it and saying that the other side is politicizing it, etc., etc. But overall, I would like to hear what everyone has to say about this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.